Hello, everybody, and welcome to EduMatch. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a special guest. Very, very excited to have my good friend, Dr. Josh Falaise, on. So, welcome, Josh. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure is mine. Wanted to have you on for a long time because you're just a phenomenal leader. So I'm so glad that you are part of the EduSnap 17 book. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about Josh. If y'all don't already know him. So all right, so I have to see. I've been practicing your name to say it properly with the Haitian accent because it's a shame that I'm Haitian and I don't call you by your name. So hold on. I my mama taught me how to say it. Dr. Josue Falaise.
That's correct.
Yes. So I can't repeat it the second time, but Josh is the founder and CEO of Gomo Educational Services LLC. He began his 19-year career as an elementary school science teacher, and then he became a middle school and high school biology and environmental science teacher. After a short number of years of teaching and time as an adjunct professor at Mercer County Community College, he spent the last 15 years as an administrator in the roles of vice principal, principal, and chief academic officer. Most of his career has been in urban school districts. In addition to his full-time job, Dr. Falaise has also been an educational consultant with NJPSA FEA for several years, presenting on various educational topics like designing curriculum, analyzing data to drive instruction, and developing higher performing PLCs throughout the state of New Jersey to schools, districts, and colleges. So, what a bio there. That is amazing. So what inspired you to go into education?
Well, when I first, I actually got into education by mistake. I was looking to do a fellowship while I was going to go to a biomedical services for a master's degree, and I couldn't get the fellowship. My mom said, "Why don't you sub?" And I started subbing, and I realized that's my niche, and so I found myself in education.
Wow, it's funny because you hear the stories of so many educators that end up here, and that wasn't like the initial path, but something just kind of holds us here. So love it, love hearing that story. So all right, so could you tell us because you connect like all the time, you're always like I see you at ed camps everywhere. I see you doing this, doing that. So what has been your journey in connecting with other educators, and what have you learned along the way?
It was not until I actually attended a NJPSA fall conference, and there was a social media lounge where three presenters who are connected just talked about the importance of connecting in Voxer and Twitter and Facebook and just Instagram. And I kept saying, I actually attended two times before it hit me. Then the second time I said, you know what, let me actually do this because whatever I decide to do, I always usually go pretty hard at it. And as you can see, and simultaneously, I actually attended a Jersey Shore Makers Fest in Tom's River that one year. It was 4,000 people, and there was an ed camp that was in there, and they're talking about Twitter and Instagram, and from there I actually connected with Martin Adigera, and it just took on from there. I started joining BFC 530. That's how I got connected with Sarah, and then led to EduMatch, and just the connections that I've gotten since then have been enormous. And now I'm connected through educators throughout the world. Whenever I need some, I can just go on through different chats. It's helped me moderate a few different chats, becoming to know more people, presenting locally and even internationally with ISTE, last year. So all these are just through my connections and networking with other people.
That is so cool. And I just wanted to give a plug right now because you have an event coming up in January. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm organizing a TMCC hack that is Thrive Mercer Trenton Hackathon. It's a design thinking challenge that is focused on disaster relief, where students are going to be coming to just have competitions. We have courses to learn how to solder. We just partnered with Major League Hacking, which is the largest known hacking organization, Hacker Earth. We're just getting a lot of partnerships and sponsors now, that it's going to be huge. It's going to be big. So we're excited because Sarah's already registered to come. So if you have not registered, please make sure you come. It's in the Trenton Mercer area, in New Jersey. If you're in Philly, it's not that far away. Please make sure you come. Please make sure you register before it close out.
Sweet. So I'm super excited about that. Like, oh my gosh, it just sounds so amazing. So can't wait to be a part of that. All right, so tell us a little bit about how you became interested in leadership. That kind of takes us to your chapter. So how did you become interested in this topic of leadership?
Well, when I was going to go into the medical school before biomedical masters, um, I always wanted to become a doctor. So when I decided to go into education, I said, I'm going to become a doctor. And then it led to, well, it's not just becoming a doctor, but I always want to become, I guess, the pinnacle of whatever I wish to do. So that was more like you need to become a superintendent. So on your path towards becoming a superintendent, it requires me to now become a principal. That's something I want to do, basically oversee students as a teacher, then as a principal, then work my way up that way. And with that, it just, I guess at first when you become a leader, just you want the best and the most for your staff and the students, um, but that's just your manager. But when I decided that wanted to become a leader, that's when through connecting with other educators, that's when I started becoming a better leader. Having a mentor and just peers I can call on, look at their expertise and their support, and I'll grow from there.
That is so cool. All right, so you wrote about leadership in your chapter. So what kinds of things can people expect to read in your chapter?
Uh, my chapter really goes over the qualities and characteristics of a dynamic leader because people, when they think about leadership, as I said before, there's a misconception as far as like just because you are in charge of a number of people that you're a leader. And it goes beyond that because even if you are a teacher or paraprofessional or even a support person that's working in a cafeteria, you can still be considered a leader. And that's something that you can basically find in my chapter of the book.
All right, very cool. So you wrote specifically about dynamic leadership. So what's the difference between that and traditional leadership?
Again, I go back to traditional leadership focused on managing and just overseeing things in the minds of people. So again, I go to debunk the leadership, and then dynamic is going above and beyond, where you're looking at conviction, setting goals for yourself, establishing them, breaking barriers. That with dynamic leadership, sometimes you have to be the, I would say, maybe perceived as the enemy, but if you're very clear in your expectations, establishing goals, you're communicating those expectations, you are following through, you're convicted, you're setting non-negotiables, and just continue following through and supporting people. That's dynamic leadership. Those are just some components of dynamic leadership, and then the characteristics I go into more as far as like what people will see in their leaders.
Absolutely. So I love that support piece. That is like having a supportive leader, having supportive leaders in my career has made all the difference for me. So couldn't agree more with that. So what kind of misconceptions, because you said that you're debunking some of the misconceptions. So what kinds of misconceptions might people have about dynamic leadership?
Well, number one is when people think of dynamic leadership, they perceive the fame as if, oh, I'm a dynamic leader, so that means that my school has to be absolutely great. It has to be known worldwide. We have to be able to get all these prizes and awards. But the thing is, the dynamic leadership is actually how are you transforming the staff that's in your building, the staff that's in your district, and then ultimately changing children because it's not all about the fame. It's not all about the money, the book deals or awards. It's how you're transforming people from within. And that's where ultimately it. And then the relationships, because if you're able to help people transform, I'm talking about like almost immediately, let's say you get a whole culture to change, and then you get new people coming in to be able to sustain that type of leadership. There has to be some sort of dynamics. There has to be some sort of scheme, transition, goals that needs to be very clear that can sustain from one year to the next, from one person to the next, and regardless of who comes and leaves, that culture is going to be like, this is how we do it here, and that's the sort of culture that you want. So regardless of who comes in, they can just say, you know what, this is how we do it here, and they're supporting their peers, their leaders, because let's say it could be a new principal, and this teachers will let them know this is how like our PLCs operate. This is how we operate with our positive discipline or positive support culture. This is how we work in the cafeteria, do this, and the staff having events that they work together beyond the school day. The committees. So if a new principal comes in and the staff already says that that's a sustained culture, that's as a result of dynamic leadership.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's powerful. And I love your first point also about doing the work. Like you got to get in there and do the work. Like that is dynamic leadership. Um, so great. So what general advice would you have for anyone watching based on your experiences as an educator?
Woo! One thing. There's too many things to just say one thing. But I guess huge takeaway would be that change does not happen overnight, and change does not happen um, with one person. It takes a team, and with the team, um, you have to work on building the capacity of the individuals. You have to be able to establish clear expectations. You have to communicate that, as you reiterated. You got to get in there and do the work. People have to see that you not only know what you're doing, but you have to know what you're saying, not what you're saying, but you know what you're doing. And if you don't, you know how to tap into the experiences, knowledge of those who are in your staff, because people will have more respect for you as far as like what you can do in house rather than just keep going out to what's called outsourcing. So I think if you can establish those core things and follow through. So if you're going to be a person of conviction, and you will experience tough times, especially if you're looking whether it's a successful culture or not. But there has to be some sort of change to go moving beyond the status quo, and you will be experiencing the challenging times. But your willingness to stick through it, stick with them, communicate to them, let them know that you are there, and be in those front lines. And through every single little battle that you keep winning, whether it's perceived or not, um, that's what builds those stars, those stripes you're going to get on your arms. And then they say, even if it's like 2 years that you've gone through so many different things, and say, you know what? In those 2 years, this person has gone through this, and this, and they've proved to us that they're here, and they're showing it. Because I mean, let's say you go into like 2 years, and um, suddenly you're out because it was all about a promotion. You'll lose the respect of that staff and also the work that's been done. So it's just showing that continuity, the conviction, and just that commitment.
Absolutely. So the three C's: continuity, conviction, and commitment. I love that. All right. So this has been amazing and the time has just flown by. But before we go, how can people get in touch with you online if they want to connect?
Yes, they can email. Actually, catch me through Twitter first, um, at JosueFalaise. That's my Twitter handle, or at GOMOEDS. That's Gomo EDS. That's the Twitter handle for the company. And if not that, you catch me at jbfalaise@gmail.com. That is JB as in boy, Falaise, Falaise at gmail.com.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been just amazing, just hearing your insight and learning from you. So, thank you so much for joining us today. And I wanted to thank everyone who's tuning in with us and everyone who's going to catch it later. So, we are going to podcast this. So, this will be out again, edited within the next few weeks. So, definitely tune in. And in about 30 minutes, we're going to be chatting with Kim Lane Clark, who's going to be talking about girls in coding. So another EduSnap 17 contributing author. So everybody join us, same bat channel, not the same bat time. So see you all. See you all in a little bit. Take care.